Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It is Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. I am Jer sharing what to know and where to go. And joining me across the table, as he does many Thursdays for many weeks now, none other than my friend, the Prince of Brightmoor himself. I have to give you your honorific, Norris Howard. How are you?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here as always, right before our holiday weekend. And let me just say, man, I'm so excited. Mom's hit me up and was like, food has been procured. We are ready. And it's about to go down, man. I'm about to eat for free, basically, for like the next 4 or 5 days. It's going to be incredible, man. So I hope you and yours are all excited and getting together for the holiday.
What is the top tier item on that list from your mom?
Ooh, from moms? Oh man, that's hard. I say this, I'm gonna be honest with you. The rib. I don't do the swine often. But the ribs, got to.
There's beef hot dogs.
Yeah, there's beef hot dogs, there's beef ribs and all that.
Listen, I'm familiar with the Hebrew National.
Absolutely. And listen, I grew up on the west side, not far from Dearborn. We know how to do halal everything, okay? But sometimes we dig the pig. So we had to get the swine on the ribs. Very excited for that. Very excited for all the summer foods, the pasta salad, the grilled corn on the cob, all that, man. I'm ready. I got the lamb burgers. We about to go down.
Now, if I get you one of those like little paper bowls with a lid, can you steal some mac and cheese for me?
I got to see if she's doing the mac and cheese. I got to ask if she's doing the mac and cheese.
I haven't had good mac and cheese in 2025.
Yeah, she might not be doing the mac and cheese, but if she does, I'll make sure you get some.
I appreciate you.
And it will be a salad. It's not a soup.
No, of course not. That's why I'm asking you.
That's what I've been trying to tell everybody.
Way too often it ends up being like some sort of gravy of cheese. It's terrible.
No, mac and cheese needs to be a solid, okay? A brick. You cut it in squares, and then you put it on your plate.
And a little bit of crispiness.
Yes, on the top. It's got to be a little burnt.
Yep. All right. In this episode, our last one before we go to the holiday weekend, we are going to take Friday off. Sorry, fans of Mr. Devin O'Reilly, Mr. Friday, but it just doesn't line up with the holidays. He will be back next week. We are going to get into 3 quick hits of stories and 2 hot takes. This first one is an update to a story that we talked about earlier on the show involving a crypto-centered group buying up Detroit real estate. Norris Howard.
Yeah, so we did a report a little bit a while ago talking about Real Token, which is a company that was crypto-focused, that was...
To be clear, I was talking with Outlier Media's Aaron Mondry.
That's correct.
Yes.
And they were going around sort of buying up numerous properties across the city of Detroit, particularly in my home neighborhood of Brightmoor. Well, now they find themselves in a lot of hot water because of their, 1,000+ rental properties that they have. 400, so almost half of them have come into question for things like tenant complaints, code violations, disrepair, blight. And the city of Detroit is now actually suing Real Token in a landmark lawsuit to give some restitution to these tenants.
Everything is alleged at this point, but the press conference was something else that they were doing live over there on the west side. Here's the thing. I don't care how you buy your properties. I don't care if you bought your house by trading it for 10 broke lawnmowers. I want you to take care of this as a long time. Again, this is alleged, but I will just state in general, I really want people to take care of their stuff. And I think people feel a lot better about when people come into town and do things if they make sure that the place is taken care of and the people inside are taken care of. And that's why I think a lot of citizens are going to be behind if there's fire behind the smoke, doing something about it.
I mean, I have an issue with it because the thing is that when you are using something like crypto, that makes the paper trail so much more difficult to follow, if possible to follow at all. That is the nature of crypto, is for it to be completely anonymous. Listen, in the press conference, and they alluded to this, saying that, some of the owners or the part owners of these properties, we can't track them. They may be overseas. They may not even be in the nation. They may be, consortiums of people. There is no one individual that they're going to be able to go after outside of Real Token, the company itself. There's no way for tenants to really get in touch with the people that own the properties for them to make the complaints. But at the same time, in the previous report, people were still getting eviction letters and people were still dealing with those aspects of being renters, but not the positives of renting, which is supposed to be the homeowners taking care of much of the big repairs.
Conceptually, and this is just my opinion, conceptually, it's very difficult for me because when it comes to something in the virtual space versus the real world, having those things match up where there is rights and responsibilities. I understand the positive semi-libertarian ethos of everybody's going to take care of their stuff. And I wish for that. But having lived on this earth more than 40 years, that isn't how it goes. And so there has to be some accountability. And what I worry about, not just with this, but with a number of things using these sorts of setups, is by diluting the investment so much. If you can get in for just $50 and there is 1,000 people, well, who pays that blight ticket, or who's responsible for those kind of things in a way that it can actually be answered?
And I think that's by design. I think, the land is not going to be devalued. And so you get in as sort of this fractional partnership of real property or real estate that allows these people to skirt that responsibility. I feel like that is the nature of what they're trying to accomplish. And they may not have said it in their welcome package. But at the same time, to your point, Jer, if 200 people all own a piece of property and the parent company is unresponsive, who ultimately has to pay the price? And the answer is the people living in the home. And that's the unfortunate price. And not necessarily the monetary price, but the price of living in a building that's falling apart, or a building that's next to one that's falling apart, and creates all sorts of hazards and safety issues for them and potentially their children.
I think this is part of the adaptation that governments and such are going to have to do in this digital age, because crypto's not going anywhere. AI is not going anywhere. How do we handle these changes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's going to be a big thing. We'll see where this lawsuit goes from the city of Detroit. Again, over 1,000 properties in the city are owned by this company, many of them on the far east side and the far west side, but sprinkled all throughout the city.
So this is a quick one, and I don't have a ton of details, but I'm hearing strong speculation that the old St. Columba Church complex in Jefferson Chalmers, so that's on the far east side. Jefferson Chalmers is kind of self-explanatory.
Yep.
Near Jefferson and Chalmers. If you like donuts, it's over by the yellow light.
There you go.
Near the Grosse Points border over there. Actually, I believe it's, formerly the city of Fairview.
That's right.
Before it was annexed in a streetcar squabble many years ago. Anyway, this is a church that my grandfather was a deacon at.
Wow.
And it is going to become a loft complex.
That's so cool.
And I don't have tons of details. I don't have numbers on any of that. I think we'll get more. I wanted to get this in people's minds before we hit the holiday. There is a front building and a church building there. As I said, I don't know all the details, but turning this into residential is huge. I know that one of the properties, or both of them, were up for for sale for $1 million or something like that. But to see this group of buildings that honestly are in pretty good condition, like you roll by there, the windows are in good shape. The
grounds are good.
Yeah, the grounds are good. So this is a great investment on that east side where, there's still a lot of vacant land, but there's definitely a lot of shoots of promise. I was recently over at Post Detroit. I was just at Decent Detroit, which is the coffee shop over there. And then you have all the things happening in the park. So I just wanted to share this little bit of development news that's outside of downtown. All the time I get told, share things outside of downtown. And we do, and we're doing it again.
Yeah, and I think it's also following up on a meeting that the city of Detroit had explaining sort of their reimagining of what zoning needs to look like. It's not a drastic change to the zoning laws that I would like, but they are freeing up the ability for people to go in and redevelop vacant church houses, to be able to go in and redevelop vacant schools, which we know are nestled in many of the neighborhoods in the city of Detroit, and turn them into specifically stuff like this, lofts and residential, to help create and revamp some of the density in these areas. I think is fantastic.
Let's head up the Woodward Corridor. Downtown Royal Oak is getting 3 free public toilets. They've partnered with Throne Labs because now everything is digitized.
Yes.
Maybe there is an app. There is truly an app for that. They're going to bring their quote-unquote cutting-edge smart public restroom units, unquote. And they're going to be at the Centennial Commons Park, Lawson Park, and the Farmers Market.
That's right. So basically the way this works is you get an app on your phone or a QR code or something like that. You bloop the bloop, and then you go in and you use the bathroom.
You bloop the bloop, and then you drop the deuce.
Yeah, you bloop the bloop. But, listen, it's a step up from your average porta potty. It's solar powered, and apparently it's got running water and all that.
But not connected to the systems.
That's correct. So, listen, it's a cool, little novelty. Go and check it out. We don't know if there's, it's a bathroom, man. I think it's very exciting. I mean,
we had a number of listeners share this with us, and thanks to our member-only Discord for that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think the only thing that does bother me is that the whole nature of a public bathroom is that everybody in the public can use it. And if you're somebody who, maybe doesn't have a phone, or you might be unhoused or something like that, this is just closed off to you, which sucks. But, at the end of the day, you're at the farmer's market, you get the bubble guts, you'll be able to use the bathroom.
All right, let's get into a couple of hot takes. Norris, you lead with this one. It was close to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this right now. And I'm gonna go out there, and I don't care how anybody feels about this, all right? I ain't gonna take no disrespect from my city.
So let's play the clip from Sophie Cunningham.
I'm not so sure what the thought process is there. But at the end of the day, you also want to make sure that you're not expanding our league too fast. I think that's also another thing, that you don't want teams to totally dominate and then have teams that aren't. And so I just think that it's kind of a hard decision-making team or situation. But man, I don't know how excited people are to be going to Detroit or Cincinnati.
Those were words.
Yeah, those were words. And let me just say this, all right? First of all, we got a much larger legacy of basketball and pretty much any professional sport here in the city of Detroit than anything Indiana or Indianapolis has ever done outside of Bobby Knight, okay? So let's just get that straight. Second of all, Jer, I'm not sure if you caught how coded this is and how coded it feels for somebody like Sophie Cunningham to say something like, I don't know who wants to go play in Cleveland and Detroit, which, by the way, I don't know anybody who wants to go play in Indiana either, but you shouldn't say that. That was my problem with it. And listen, plenty of people in the online social media verse came out against this, said that, hey, listen, Detroit has a legacy of winning basketball teams, has a legacy of women's sports, has a legacy of, just flat out having badass women do athletics. I mean, listen, this is the birthplace of roller derby, bro. Like, let's put that into perspective, man. Like, so to say something like that was absolutely absurd, and completely uncalled for and unneeded. And, I hope that when this team comes about, that she's still playing for Indiana, because I want to hear just how hard we boo her when she shows up to Little Caesars Arena.
All right, this clip is from Shinola, and it is a short interview with Tarek Skubal talking about two of our favorite drinks.
Faygo or Vernors?
What's that? Should I know that?
Faygo's made in Detroit. It's like our pop. And Vernors is also made in Michigan.
I have no idea. That's soda?
Yeah. They're both different pops. Made in Michigan.
I've never heard of them.
No?
Never.
Oh my God.
Never. I don't venture. Well, one, don't hold that against me because I don't drink a ton of soda anyways.
Yeah.
I have a Coke every once in a while. Like maybe today, I pitched today. I'll probably have a Coke when I get home.
My question is, I'm not going to hold it too hard against him because he's winning for us.
And also, he's from California.
Yeah. But which is the more Detroit pop in your mind? Faygo or Vernors?
Faygo, 1,000%. Faygo. Like, you grow up driving past the Faygo plant on Gratiot. Like, Faygo, 1,000%. 1,000%.
I agree with you because I do drive by that plant. And Vernors, with all due respect, unless they decide to put some sort of physical plant here,
yeah,
I think that Vernors is nostalgia. Faygo is the future. Now, that could change. I'm challenging Vernors right now. I'm challenging you.
Put your plant in Detroit.
Not New Holland, Michigan. It's in Michigan. I'll take it.
No. But put your plant in Detroit. Put it in Detroit. I will back your challenge. I will back your challenge to say you need to have a secondary plant or something in Detroit, or at least a store, something in Detroit. Because listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Unless I'm literally keeled over with the stomach flu, I'm probably not drinking Vernors. But Faygo, I'm drinking Faygo, and I don't even drink pop like that. But if I see a 60-40 or a rock and rye or a root beer, I'm going straight for it. I'm making a beeline right to the Faygo section, flat out.
Full credit to Micheline Maynard, an excellent writer, for sharing that clip on Threads. It got me going because I feel very strongly about this. I am not hating on Vernors, but I do put Faygo at a higher standard.
And you know what? And I remember one time, man, this is a personal story that I have. I remember I went to go hang out with a friend of mine. It was my mom's friend's kid, and they lived in Troy. And we went out to Troy. Now, listen, Faygo is widespread. You can buy Faygo everywhere, but it didn't matriculate through Troy at the time. This is the late 90s, so it really wasn't built into the culture out there quite as much, right? I go out there, and I had a red pop on me. And my friend was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Bro, you never had red pop in your whole life? You like 13 years old. What do you mean?" And he was like, "Nah, man, I never had it." I gave it to him, and he short circuited. Like, he was just like, "This is so good." And he was just like, "Where did you get this from?" I was like, "Bro, the gas station? Like, what are you saying?" And it just dawned on me that it's like Faygo is such a deep and rich part of growing up in the city of Detroit that, you know, everybody may or may not have it. Now, I'm not saying this is true of every suburb. Obviously, kids in the suburbs drink Faygo. But this one particular, it blew my mind that a person could make it a decade plus in Metro Detroit and never have had a Faygo.
You know the Faygo flavor that low-key I like a lot?
What?
Arctic Sun.
See, but that's why I like Faygo, because what is that flavor? What is Arctic Sun? Tell
Blue.
me. Blue, exactly.
Light blue as opposed to dark blue.
Exactly, which is grape or purple.
Or blue raspberry.
Or blue raspberry. Exactly. 60-40. Nobody knows what it is.
No one ever will know.
Yes.
And nor do we want to know.
We don't. It's just squirt. But but we don't.
And who knows what that is?
And who's know? That's why I love Faygo. That's why I love it, man. Because you just drink it because it look good and it tastes good. You don't even care what flavor it is half the time, man.
I wonder if there's kids out there who think that everything red tastes like Red Pop.
They should. They should. First of all, Red Pop is the best tasting red pop of all time. I've never seen anybody do a red flavor pop better. I'm gonna not Jones Soda, not none of the rest of them. Red Pop is by far the best strawberry flavor pop, period.
Well, with that, I'm going to stop right here because I can't think of a better way to end our show heading into the holiday weekend. We'll mention before I go to Eventbrite. Check out, we have our studio open house Saturday the 19th, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Come say hi. We're doing a community conversation, coffee, donuts. We ask for the RSVP. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll ask for the RSVP mostly so we can get our numbers right so that you can have something tasty and we can know how many people are coming so that we can. This is a nice space, but it's not the biggest space. So getting a ticket is a good thing, and we'd love to see you. It's always so good to talk to folks. I really hope you have a wonderful, wonderful 4th of July and holiday weekend.
Go buy Faygo right now. Like, go buy one for the 4th of July.
You could even get the fireworks, although that stuff's so sweet. I mix it with a mixer, shall we say.
Yeah, no. Go and get a 2-liter of Rock and Ride right now.
The Prince of Brightmoor has spoken. With that, I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Norris Howard.
Thank you so much for listening. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.